Hello, I'm MightyJ Cosplay, and in today's video I'm gonna show you how to turn from this to this. Hello shapeshifter and doppelgangers alike, I'm MightyJ Cosplay and welcome to my channel. So in today's video I'm gonna do a beginner friendly step-by-step tutorial on how to reproduce the basic robotic look that you saw in the intro, which is Karn Silver golem from Magic the Gathering. Basically I chose this character to do a kind of case study on how to do basic 3D effects only using makeup and body paint without using prosthetics. So basically the 3D effect you get it especially when you just turn your head a little bit sideways in front of the camera when you're pointing your cheekbone. That's where you get the kind of 3D effect with this look. So before we jump into the subject, just some quick reminder, you can give a like and subscribe to the channel in order to see more cosplay SFX makeups and Halloween makeups tutorial. You can also follow me on Instagram to see pictures of my makeup, and you can find the link in the description. So like in most of my videos, the two first steps I do them off camera, which is concealing my eyebrows and priming my face. So if you don't know how to conceal your eyebrows, it can be a pretty long process, but I made a whole video explaining the topic and explaining how I do it. And it's pretty beginner friendly, so check it out. But once that is done, the first step is to trace my face. So basically what I'm doing now will trace all the edges of the plates of Karn's face. So to do that I'm using eyeliner pencil. So I will be using a gray eyeliner pencil. If you don't have a gray eyeliner, just take a pretty neutral color. Just be careful, if you go with black it may be too dark and show through over the body paint. So even if you put body paint over it, sometimes the black will still show through. So personally I'm using the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in shade All Over Gray, and I also like to mark some highlight using a white eyeliner pencil. In this case I'm also using Makeup Forever with the shade All Around White. So yeah, the first step that we're gonna do is trace our face. So I trace my face pretty much with basic geometrical shape using the gray eyeliner, and now I will use the white eyeliner to mark some highlight. So basically, as you can see, there will be different metal plates. So for each metal plate I want some parts to be more shiny than other. Basically I will use silver body paint to do the highlight, and there are some parts of the plate also that will have more shade where I will put black body paint. So I will use the white eyeliner to mark the highlights, so basically where I will put the silver body paint, or at which side of each plate I will put the silver body paint. So now my face is fully traced, and just adding the white lines help to give a little more three-dimensional effects to the face. So now this is more a personal step, but I love to prime my lips using a white lipstick. The main reason for that is just because applying lipsticks on your lips can be dry, so by priming them with a layer of lipstick it can make it more comfortable. But this is not a mandatory step. This is just a personal step that I like to do, so I'll do it. So for the face painting, for the whole face, I'm basically only using 3 colors of body paint. I'm using all Marin Paradise paints, so I have silver, storm cloud gray, and black. So whenever I'm doing a face paint, I also try to use only 1 brushes per color as much as possible. So I have 3 brushes that I got from the art supply store, and I will assign 1 brush for each color that I'll be using. But for other type of detail, I will be using other brushes and I will wash them between colors. So basically they are brushes that I got from the art supply store. They are mostly for watercolor or things like that. So whenever I'm applying the colors on my face, I prefer to always start with the lightest color. So in this case it will be silver, because it is always harder to put a light color on top of a dark color than the other side. So that's the reason why it's always better to start with the lightest color, so you already see where they are. You can spread them maybe a little bit more, and then you will be more careful about applying the darker color close to it. So it's just basically it's just starting with the lightest color, make it easier and prevent mistakes. And if you do mistake, it will be way easier to correct than if you start with a dark color, because it is easier to darken things up and it is way harder to lighten things up, if it kind of makes sense. So now that being said, let's start with the silver body paint. Basically I will do plates pretty much one at a time. But I will mark some highlight on a lot of the plates, and then I will be blending them using the Storm Cloud body paint. So let's do it. So now that my highlight is pretty much marked up, as you can see, it went pretty much next to most of the lines on my face, so it's also a great way of keeping trace of all the line. Also, even if it's a robot, you don't want to apply silver all across your face, because you will have no highlight if everything is in full highlight mode and all reflective. So now what I will do is I will cover most of the plate with silver, with Storm Cloud Gray body paint, and if needed, I will outline some of them using the black body paint. So to always keep marks of the tracing that I did earlier. So it's better to trace on your face and apply the body paint step by step than just covering your whole face in gray and silver and then trying to make out your shape. So yes, I'm filling each plate one by one. This is not necessarily that long if you take the right brushes, but it is better to do that and always keep track of all the lines of your tracing. So now I will start filling the plates. So now it's time to blend. So this part is the one that can be a little more tricky or come more with experience, but basically what I want is to make a gradient between the gray and the silver. So basically how I generally do it is I will first take the silver, I will bring it a little more toward the center, bringing it on top of the gray. So starting from the silver and pulling it over the gray. Then you can also do some swipe horizontally, it also helps. So I'm not using a lot of body paint on my brush when I'm doing this. Then you just go back with the silver, you're doing the opposite process when you're pulling gray body paint over the silver, and making sure to blend that in. So it can be quite a long process to make really smooth gradients, so try the best you can. But yeah, now we're at the step of blending the silver and the gray. So at this point you already start to have the more 3D effect, especially around here when you kind of see edges. But now we added the highlight, now we have to add the shading, and that's where we're gonna use black. So basically, generally what you want to do is to make a contrast between the silver and the black to make the edges pop more. So basically, I will show it on camera anyway. I will mark with the black body paint where I will put the shading, and then we're gonna blend it so that we get the 3D effect even more. So basically, when I'm talking about all the gradients and everything, you just want to make sure that you get smooth shading and that you don't sort of see lines. That's kind of the secret about this. The other thing is, whenever you're working on your eyebrows, be careful, because it is not like the rest of your skin. You conceal them, you're working over glue and not over your skin. So this part is way more fragile, so I suggest using way less water than what you normally use for the rest of your face. So, and always working in the same direction, like moving upward, that you conceal your eyebrow. So now I will start by putting all the places where I'll put the shade with black body paint. As I said, also black, working with dark color is always more dangerous, so it's always better to put less and then to slowly add more than putting a lot and trying to erase it. So I will use a smaller brush. I will actually use a liner brush to mark my shade, and then I will blend it. Normally I would blend it already, but I will show you where I will put this shade on this face paint. So now, as you can see, we still get even more a 3D effect. You see that the black is really contrasting with the gray, so we're gonna have to soften that a little bit more. That's the reason why also you can see that I had way less black than I added silver at the first place. Also, there's one part that won't be really shade, but it's just Karn's mouth, which is basically here, and that line on the side. This is his jawline, so I will not totally shade that, but at least I will soften the line a little bit, especially toward these two plates here. But here I will not try to mix it. I really want a stark contrast, a sharp contrast with the silver that is on the jawline. So now let's blend the black in. So now the next step for this part of the face will be outlining and sharpening everything up. Basically, I've blended a lot of color, but I do really want to get some heavy contrast and have the shape really defined. So I will take a very tiny, I don't know if you see it correctly, I will take a very tiny brush to outline between the shape, especially where I did the shading. So because let's say here the black, I blended it pretty much, it kind of faded away, but I just want to add just a tiny line of black and blend it just a little bit, so that here I will get a straight silver line, and underneath it I will get a straight line of black to really make the contrast even bigger. So basically this is, yeah, outlining. So I will do black pretty much around all the shapes, not all the shapes, but yeah. So you really want to make very fine thin lines, and even then you can use to blend it, because I don't necessarily want these lines to be very apparent. I will use even a slightly bigger brush like this, that will to blend those lines. So you can also see it, this part of outlining, as precision shading maybe. So it's kind of like I did the wider shading with black, and now I'm doing the precision shading using black. So yeah, now let's do this micro shading and outline. So now that it's done, you see the contrasts are a little bit sharper, and we start to get that more 3D effect, especially around the cheekbones. So now I'm gonna do pretty much the same steps, but for the rest of my face. I really wanted to make the focus about the lower half of my face, because that's where you have the most contrast, the most gradients, the most things going on. So basically I will paint my forehead and the rest pretty much gray. The nose will be a little more silvery with outline. I will enter into voiceover mode for this part because honestly there's not as much going on. So it's pretty much all the same step that I did for the face. Also, sometimes I like to say that this part of the face will be the focus when I will take pictures. I sometimes love to call that the money maker. So I know that when I will take pictures to post on social media and things like that, I will really want to emphasize this part here and the contrast, the three-dimensional effect. So honestly, on the top of my head there will not be that much going on, so that's why I'm not putting it as much in the video. So yeah, it will pretty much filling it with green, shading with black, mixing the silver highlight. So I will do that and I'll come back after. I start filling the top of my head, all the parts that are not already marked with silver body paint. I fill them using the Storm Cloud Gray body paint. The only place that I'm not covering with gray is the top of my nose. Then I'm making a gradient on my forehead. I'm taking the silver line right above my eyebrows and I'm pulling that toward the top of my head and making gradients. I'm doing a similar thing on the side of my head by pulling the silver toward the center of my face. Then I'm shading right above those squares on the two sides using black body paint. For the nose, I'm mostly filling it with silver and just adding a pinch of gray in the middle. Then I'm slightly shading the top of the sides with black body paint. And yet again, I'm outlining with black using the precision brush to get a sharper contrast. So now I start to look like a little bit more like a robot. So the next step is the most boring one, and I will not really show it in the video, but basically is to black out all the rest. You can decide if you want to just put like your neck all around the rest of your head, your ears. You can put that gray and silver if you want. For me, I will take pictures and I will just black out my neck, my ears, and the rest of my head. The only place that I will leave blank for now is the eyes. So after blacking out the rest, we will attack the eye, but I prefer to do the eyes, the pupils, and then filling the rest out with body paint or other products. So instead of just putting black in, because sometimes black body paint can transfer, and is like maybe I want to put my eyes, my pupils on the lid here, but maybe black body paint will transfer there. So that's why I prefer to leave my ear area blank, and after I've done the pupils, filling it with black. So, but yeah, now I will just black out the rest of my face and I'll come back. So now that the rest of my face and my neck are all blacked out, we can move forward. So now we have 2/3 of the job done. The rest is mainly working with eyeshadows and highlighters and products like that. Basically, we will redo pretty much all the same steps and things, but with eyeshadows. The reason why I do that is, first of all, the eyeshadow will help to set the body paint, so it will help to prevent transfer. Then the eyeshadow will also help to even out the texture, to hide like the brush strokes, to help cover some patches of paint that are missing or some things like that, and it helped to just be more precise as well, especially using a liner brush and eyeshadow to put the black, to make the black look even sharper. Also, it will really help to make the gradients and everything even more smooth. So the next step actually is optional, and is to draw eyes, to paint eye over my eyelids. So this is an optional step, but I mean, on Karn you have like 2 dots in the middle of the eye area, 2 lights as eyes, so that's what I will be doing. So for that I will be using 3 products. So, and as I said, this is an optional step. I will first start with the Cover FX Power Play Concealer in white, so to really mark the eye. I will kind of use it as an eyeshadow base. Otherwise, you can use like an eyeshadow base, preferably white. I think Urban Decay and Anastasia Beverly Hills have some white eyeshadow base. But yeah, I will be using that. Then I will be setting that using a white shimmery eyeshadow. So if you don't have the Power Play Concealer or an eyeshadow base, go straight up with this eyeshadow. I will be using the Maybelline Expert Wear in shade Vanilla, which is a white shimmery metallic eyeshadow, and I will be around that area using a golden eyeshadow. I will use this golden shade from the Koi Viseart palette. So yeah, I will do the eyes, I will also do some voiceover, and then I will cover all the rest of my eye area using black gel liner. If you don't have some, you can use an eyeliner, you can use black eyeshadow. I tend to not use black body paints around the eye area because sometimes, or some brands, they are not eye safe, so that's why I prefer to use eye product. Maybe like the part that are farther from your eyes, you could go with black body paint, but generally I tend to avoid using black body paint too close to my eye. So yes, I'll do that and I'll be back. I start the eye by applying a dot of white concealer on each eyelid, and I'm verifying the placement by taking a selfie and then making some correction if needed. Then I set the white concealer using a white metallic eyeshadow, and then I'm going all around it using that golden metallic eyeshadow. Then I go around the pupil using a liquid liner. Because it dries pretty fast, so I want something really sharp around. I'm putting black eyeliner on my waterline, and then I'm filling right around the pupil with an ink liner. You can continue with an eyeliner pen if you want, but I want something that can dry quite fast. And then I'm filling the rest using a black gel liner. Here again, you can continue using your eyeliner or your liquid liner, but basically I want something that have a lot of coverage. And then I'm setting all that, the ink liner, gel liner and everything, I'm setting all that with a black matte eyeshadow. So that now gives you an idea on what the final look will look like. So now we're at the step of setting all the body paint with eyeshadows. So basically I'll be using this custom and beaten up Makeup Forever eyeshadow palette. So basically pretty much everywhere where we put silver, I'll be using this light silver eyeshadow. Where I've put gray body paint, I'll be using this dark silver eyeshadow, and in some spot I'll be using this dark metallic, black metallic eyeshadow. So other than that, I'll also be using some black and some gray matte eyeshadows. So I just love to make my own custom palette with Makeup Forever. Other than that, you can find some silver eyeshadow palettes earlier on, and this is also beaten up pretty much, I had this Colorful 5 Sephora eyeshadow palette that was really affordable, but it was really great because you had the black and different shades of silver and a white shimmery eyeshadow. So it was honestly the best palette to do a robot look like this. So I think they don't produce it anymore, but maybe you can find other similar palettes. So yeah, so now we'll be setting the body paint with these silver eyeshadows. We're gonna do some more shading. So let's do it. So now most of the eyeshadow job is done. As you can see, especially on this jaw section, the gradient are way smoother. Basically what the eyeshadow job is mostly doing is that it helps to remove all the brush strokes or all the line between the different colors of body paint that you use. So that's how you can get really smooth gradients. So now the two next steps are still with eyeshadows. So the first thing is this plates have not been shaded as much, so I'm gonna use some the black metallic eyeshadow here, just a little bit to shade those parts. Maybe I will put a little bit of silver at the bottom here to lighten it up a little bit, light silver. And then we're gonna do the outlining because we lost a little bit of precision with all those steps. You remember that step when we used the black body paint and the precision brush to redo all the lines? Now those lines look kind of blurred. So we're gonna take an eyeshadow brush, a liner brush, and black eyeshadow, and we're gonna redo those lines. But we don't want those lines to be too harsh, too visible, so sometimes you will need to blend them, to smudge them a little bit. So me personally, I love to use this Marc Jacobs brush. This is called the smudger, so that's basically why I'm using it. But it can be an expensive brush. If you're looking for a dupe, you have this e.l.f. Precision Concealer brush that can act as a good dupe. And basically what you're gonna do is, let's say I redo this line with black eyeshadow, then I can just smudge it a little bit to make it blended with the rest of the makeup. So here again, like I said earlier, it's kind of micro shading what we're doing here. So yeah, we're gonna do these outlining or out shading step, and I'll be back. Now that we did the outline, this makeup look looks way more sharp, like bang, bang,
bam, bam.
It looks way more three-dimensional, especially like here. So, but we can put that even more three-dimensional. So this next step is optional. That's more like one of my personal tricks that I like to do, but I like to put even more shine on these edges. We put black eyeshadow under this edge, but we can now put silver highlight on the other side of that edge. So I'll be doing that using this MAC liquid eyeliner in shade Misty Me. So basically, as I said, I will put a thin line of it on the other side on top where we put earlier the silver body paint, and then I will blend that in a little bit as well using the same kind of smudger brush. If you don't have that MAC Silver liquid eyeliner, you can dupe that with an eyeliner pencil in a silver shade. It will be alright. Maybe it's gonna be a little wider, but as long as you blend it back with the brush, it's gonna be alright. Just make sure that it's also more reflective than the silver eyeshadow that you put. Other than that, you can just take the liner brush and put even more silver eyeshadow on those lines. But yeah, now one of the last steps is to put some more highlight on my face. And this is the final result. So this is the final result of my Karn Silver Golem cosplay SFX makeup. So I hope you really enjoyed the video. This is the first time I do a step-by-step tutorial like that. So I hope it was good enough that you have been able to recreate this look at home. So basically I chose to do Karn because it is a very simple robot look, but the same logic apply for all of the other robot look that I did. So when I do a more complex cosplay SFX makeup, let's say like a transformer, it's basically all the same step, all the same logic, it's just that you have way more details, like just the tracing for the makeup is way more complex, way more details, and take way much time. But other than that, it's all the same kind of steps and logic. So if you have any question about this Karn Silver Golem Halloween makeup look, the robot look, you can leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, I hope you really enjoyed the video. If so, please feel free to give a like and subscribe to the channel to see more cosplay SFX makeup tips and tricks. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye!